Good morning and welcome to Newswatch Today. I'm Summer Ottershot.
And I'm Raylan Lakatos. Tesla has found itself under some investigative heat.
And Evangel faculty learn how students might misuse artificial intelligence.
Cameron Lee is here with your forecast, and Emmeline Perkins has your latest sports news. This is Newswatch Today.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Right now, we're going to be taking our first look at the weather. Cameron, how is it looking out there?
Well, thanks, Summer. Currently, we can feel that cooler temperatures around 42 degrees, but thankfully later into today, it's going to warm up just a bit, go to 50 degrees, but we are going to be expecting some showers later in the day, but I'll talk more about that later. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. I guess we'll know more in just a little while during your full forecast.
I am glad I packed my umbrella today. I was not going to have a bad hair day just because of those showers.
No, we are having so much rain lately.
I'm pretty sure it's going to keep coming, but she'll talk about it later. Alex Murdaugh will be serving 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole after a South Carolina judge found him guilty for the murder of both his wife and his son. The disgraced former attorney spoke up for himself twice in the sentencing, both times claiming his innocence. Prosecutors did say they would spare Murdaugh from the death penalty and followed through on their word when he was found guilty. It was said that Murdaugh showed no tears or remorse.
Federal safety regulators are investigating Tesla over steering wheels that can reportedly fall off. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is examining the 2023 Model Y SUV. The probe is a step the agency takes before ordering a recall. It comes after at least 2 instances in which owners said their steering wheels became detached while the vehicle was being driven. The NHTSA said in those 2 instances, the cars were missing the bolt that attaches the steering wheel to the steering column. The agency's report didn't say if there were accidents or injuries as a result of the problem. According to the NHTSA, roughly 120,000 vehicles on U.S. roads could be affected.
Evangel University mourns the loss of Ann Spence, wife of former President Robert Spence. Mrs. Spence was known as Evangel's #1 recruiter and for her love of the university. This was evident as she traveled with her husband all across the country on behalf of Evangel. Not only was she the president's wife, but she was also the executive vice president of the Evangel Ladies Auxiliary from 1974 to 2013. Memorial services were held last Sunday at Central Assembly of God Church. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Spence family and all the lives that are affected by Ann's passing.
Evangel's Activities Board Club hosted S'mores Indoors this past week. The S'mores Indoors event was held on Tuesday, March 7th in the Joust. The area was filled with fun games ranging from Legos to kinetic sand and even rock painting. There were rooms dedicated to reading children's books and a live band as entertainment. The s'more tables were filled with lots of options to choose from, and all students were encouraged to come. Emma Main says it's all about getting a good break from all the midterm studying and preparation.
The purpose of S'mores Indoors is so that people can come and take a break from studying. It's purposely in the middle of midterms week so that people can just kind of relax and not focus on the stresses of the week, and they can just be with their friends and meet some new ones.
AB hopes students left feeling less stressed and ready to tackle the rest of their midterms. More fun events like this one will begin once school picks back up after spring break.
New technology might be creating more challenges to learning than solutions in education. Raylan Lakatos has the full story.
A new computer program called ChatGPT has generated lots of concern in the school system.
ChatGPT uses artificial intelligence to gather data in very large amounts from the internet to produce responses on demand. Its unique conversational composition mimics the way people speak and write. English professor at Evangel University, Luke Gibbs, has studied ChatGPT since its release in November and is astonished by its ability.
It is perfect grammar, accurate, gives examples, and simulates writing instantly.
The program is capable of writing essays, answering questions, paraphrasing, summarizing, and so much more. Students have found that ChatGPT can do their coursework for them.
Our evaluation tools as professors are now much more rocky because it's very easy for a student to simulate doing the thinking, doing the reading, doing the wording very, very quickly, very, very easily.
Evangel faculty have met to figure out solutions to combat the cheating crisis, discussing ways to detect if a student has used ChatGPT or other AI programs to do their coursework, and even ways to rework lesson plans so students have to continue to work hard for their education and earn their degree.
If everyone knows, well, they just sort of sail through with no effort, then the investment of a college degree becomes much, much less valuable than it used to be, because it no longer sends a sign a person who had to do all this hard work to get to college.
There are still many unanswered questions. Are AI programs such as this a challenge or an opportunity? Will ChatGPT become obsolete as new programs surpass it in the near future? It's something we're all figuring out as we go. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Raylan Lucatus.
The World Changers Club brought guests to dinner last Friday. Allison Labrat has the story.
Students have had the opportunity to hear from missionaries during events held for Global Impact Week. One of these events gives students a chance to speak with missionaries on a personal level, and that is the Missionary Calf Takeover.
On the final day of Global Impact Week, many of the 60 missionaries in attendance shared a meal with students at the Calf Takeover. First-time attendee, Tech Carpenter, says he enjoys speaking with students about their unique callings and creativity.
But it's been great talking with students. You know, I love hearing the hearts of young people and getting to hear how God is calling them.
The Campus Missions Club, World Changers, puts intentional time and effort into preparing these events that inspire meaningful conversations.
It takes a lot of preparation for this big of a week, this big of an event, and so we started talking about these at the very beginning of last semester.
The CAF Takeover is planned to give students a chance to learn about what life is like as a missionary. The event also gives missionaries the opportunity to share stories and laughter. The one-on-one aspect of the event makes these experiences possible.
I hope participants get to not only just get to know more about missions, but they get to know the missionaries and get to know their heart behind why they do what they do. And if they perhaps find a calling to missions, then that's the cherry on top. But just knowing that everybody is called to missions, and that doesn't have to mean all across the world. It could also mean within the U.S. and in your local community.
If you would like information on how to be involved with missions beyond Global Impact Week, visit the World Changers group page on the Evangel Connect app. Reporting for EUTV, I'm Allison Labrat.
Up next, I'll be talking with Sarah Cummings to learn more about Evangel's new food service and the Lance.
This and more when we get back after this break.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
could do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Evangel University has announced the termination of their contract with Aladdin Campus Dining and their new partnership with one of the top university food service organizations in the nation, Sodexo. The decision to switch was made as a result of miscommunications and frustrations with Aladdin leadership and the poor state of on-campus dining. The transition will include several new additions to the dining experience, including the ability to purchase food and drinks 24/7, a food ordering app, and name brand foods in the Joust. The transition process is set to begin at the end of the spring semester, with many of the changes taking place over the summer, in time for the fall semester. Summer Raudershot is standing by with a special guest. Summer?
Thanks, Raylan. With me today is Sarah Cummings. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me.
So when Pastor Mark and Dr. Rakes announced in chapel that we're getting a new food service, they gave the Lance, you guys, a shout out. Yeah. So you were the author. How long did you guys know about the dining service changes?
So I knew for a little over a week before the announcement was made. The announcement was made in Wednesday in chapel, and I found out the Monday of the week before.
Okay, so how did you receive that information? You knew for about a week, but did you have to go do interviews, or did they just give you a rundown or an inside tip? Did you talk with Pastor Mark or Dr. Rakes?
Yeah, so the Lance has a really good working relationship with Evangel's administration, specifically Dr. Kolstad, who's the chief of staff. So it's pretty common that we will reach out to him for potential stories. And we'd been working with him about just the dining service overall. Mm-hmm. I wrote a story in the fall about calf shortages, and he was our point to talk to on that one. So earlier this semester, I contacted him. We reached out about if there was a story, what was being done, because we knew that they were looking for changes. We didn't know if that would be a different company or what different changes were going on. So I reached out to him at the beginning of this semester. He said that things were in the works. He couldn't talk yet, but that in a couple of weeks, things would be finalized and we could talk. So then he reached out to me about the week before and was like, we're ready to meet. And then my managing editor and I went in and spoke with Dr. Kolstad.
That's so cool. So I know a lot of people that weren't at chapel yesterday. Yeah. So what would you say was the main point of your story, and what exactly is the overall view of what is happening that they told you?
Yeah. So the big story is that Evangel is switching from Aladdin Dining Services to Sodexo. Sodexo is a much larger company. They are in the top 3 in food service for universities, so they do a lot. They're a much bigger company, and with that come a lot more capabilities. So this they began wondering about a switch in the fall. They'd heard a lot of feedback from students, from parents, and even when I was visiting with Pastor Mark, he said that he and his wife, Christy, actually go and eat in the caf about once a week. Mm-hmm. So they were experiencing the things that students were talking about. So they knew that something needed to be changed. So in the fall, they began working with what would it look like to have a new company come in, how does that work contractually with Aladdin. And when they were in talks with Aladdin leadership, really just heard a lot of empty promises of we're gonna come down, we will come implement these different things, or we'll have leadership there to make this better. And they just didn't see that. They didn't see Aladdin leadership come on campus or really provide the workers here on campus with the support that they needed.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I know, and you may not know the answer to this, but we were in a contract. Did they mention at all how we got out of that contract, or no?
Yes, so when I spoke with Linda Allen, who's Evangel's Vice President of Business and Finance, we talked about this a little bit. And Evangel has 2 years left on the Aladdin contract. Yes. So they do have to pay to get out of that contract, but they got it to a price that was reasonable. Okay. So there's a little bit of money that continues to go to Aladdin because of that contract, but that was able to be negotiated.
It's really nice to see that Evangel does care enough about their students that they're we're willing to put in the money to free ourselves from Aladdin in order that the students have food that they can actually eat.
Absolutely.
So what is your position on the Lance?
I'm the news editor.
Okay, so how long have you been the news editor? How long have you been on the Lance at all? Because I know some people start off in a smaller position and work their way up.
Yeah, so this is my first year on the Lance. I started in the fall as the news editor. Last spring, I was in the newspaper workshop class, because it's a class that a lot of communication majors have to take, and really enjoyed it. Got in talks with the editor-in-chief there, and she wanted me to come on staff. I was interested, so I came on staff this fall, and I've been loving it.
Perfect. And then how can other students get involved with the Lance, and where can they find your stories if they don't want to be involved but they still want to read?
Yeah, so the stories can be found at evangellance.com or through our social media on Instagram. We post a lot of stuff and have those links posted for students. And then if you want to get involved in the Lance, I believe applications typically open up after spring break, late March, maybe early April. So stop by the communications department and grab an application, or just talk to anyone you see that's on the Lance. Pull us aside, and we would love to talk about what it means to be on the Lance.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here with us
today,
Sarah.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the desk with Raylan and Cameron.
Thanks, Summer. So Cameron, what can we expect this week? I know I'm certainly hoping for warmer weather and clearer skies with spring break right around the corner.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping for that warmer weather, but we'll have to wait to find out, and I'll talk more about that when we return.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
The Oscars are airing March 12th. The show is being hosted by Jimmy Kimmel and will have performances by Rihanna, Diane Warren, and Sophia Carson. Some of the different movies up for nominations are Black Panther 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Whale, Puss in Boots, Elvis, The Batman, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun: Maverick, and many more. ABC will be airing the awards show.
Well, I haven't seen all of those movies, but I'm certainly excited that Elvis and Top Gun are up for nomination.
I was literally going to say the same thing. Yeah. Those were the two movies I watched this summer, and phenomenal. I almost cried in Elvis, and I was like so excited after Top Gun Maverick.
So good.
They're so great. I might actually have to watch the show this year. So Cameron, what can we expect going into this next week?
Well, thanks, guys. Going into next week, we'll talk about that in just a second. I first want to talk about those current conditions outside. It's 42 degrees, it's pretty chilly outside, and as we move into the day, it's not going to get any better. We can just expect showers, maybe warm up just a bit, jumping from that 42 to that 50-degree weather, but for the most part, it's still going to stay pretty chilly with that humidity at around 80% and showers to be expected. If we take a look at tonight, though, it is only going to cool down from there. It's going to stay pretty cold, 33 degrees. So if you're expecting a warm day today, don't. It won't be that warm. But it will cloudy and clear up just a bit from those rains. We won't expect rain tonight. And if we look at our almanac, we can see the temperatures for today. We already know 50 degrees, low of 33. The record temperature for right now is usually 81 degrees with a low of 5 degrees. So that's something crazy to think about. It's been 5 degrees as a low at one point, and I am so thankful we're not feeling that today. If we take a look at our satellite, we can see a lot of precipitation moving through here and all along here, but this is what we have to worry about. This is probably what we're going to feel today, what we're going to feel later in the week, which I'll get to in just a second, but we're most likely going to feel all of that coming through, and we're going to feel it throughout the entire week, and we can see most of that again on our radar. We can see all of it coming up through here. We can see it move along. All of this will come up to us, and this will be what we can expect to feel all throughout next week. One last look at our Missouri temperatures, 53 degrees as a high today. I doubt that it's going to get that high at all. I'm feeling 50 degrees as our high for sure, but it won't drop any lower than 33 degrees, so thankful for that. In Kansas City, we can see highs of 44, so at least we're a little bit warmer than Kansas City and the surrounding areas. And in our national forecast, this is all of that rain that we can see coming up through here. You can see it's going to come right over the top of us, and it's sitting there. It's going to be there for a while. We're going to expect to see it for most of the week. And we can see that in our 6-day forecast when we look at Saturday, occasional rain. Sunday, we have AM showers, but that will turn to sun as we move in throughout the day. And then some more rain later in the week. But we can see some sun start to show up with that mostly sunny day on Tuesday and Wednesday with highs of 63 as our high for the entire week. And that's all I have for you guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Cameron. See, I'm going to be escaping the rain because I'm going up to South Dakota, but you can see I'm literally going to be driving into a snowstorm. So I think I would almost prefer the rain at this point.
I know, I'm a little disappointed that the cold weather is sticking around for a little bit longer, but that's all right. Up next, a blockbuster film is finally turning digital, and Emmeline gives us the latest in sports. We'll be right back.
My kids put skis on as they were learning to walk. I want my kids to be able to have those moments with their kids. Being a scientist, I'm worried about climate change in so many different ways for my kids. From the second you have a child, you want to do everything to protect them. I think our action on climate change is no different. It's just an extension of being a mom.
There is a road laid out for me. First night here, but Amy seems cool. Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see. What do you think? I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Class, today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Avatar: The Way of Water will be available for digital purchase on March 28th from Apple TV, Movies Anywhere, Prime Video, and Vudu. The release will feature over 3 hours of bonus content from the film, where viewers will have a deep dive into the world of Pandora, as well as a look into the unique production process of the film.
The Way of Water has been nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Production Design, Best Visual Effects, Best Sound, and Best Picture. The 3rd film in the Avatar series is set for release in 2024. Intramural basketball season is upon us at Evangel University. Here is Wyatt Long with an update.
The Intramural Basketball League heating up here at Evangel. What better place to go to get a scoop on the action than to the courts themselves?
Evangel University's Intramural Basketball League is taking place week by week all throughout the spring semester. Different resident halls create their teams and compete against one another. Krause Hall, Burgess, even the commuters of campus compete against the other teams in a battle for bragging rights.
Bringing everybody together, especially campus, bringing everyone together, watching people come out and cheer for their floors and cheer for their teams, that's just a great thing. I feel like it really affects campus. A bunch of competitive dudes, so it's fun to go out there and see dudes play a different sport than what they're used to. We got baseball guys playing, we got football guys playing, different sports, and so I think it really just shows the competitiveness.
The Basketball League creates opportunities for all of campus to interact over a common ground, and the impact of the games do not go unnoticed.
I think intramurals is a great way for anyone to play. You know, with football, some people don't think they're good enough to play, but with basketball, I feel like anyone can get in there and take part.
The league is student-run and operated, including student referees and scorekeepers.
They do a great job. You know, they keep the game in its boundaries, but they really let us play. They make it fun for everybody. Tournament play starts on the 6th. It's one game and you're out. You lose one game and you're done.
With tournament play just around the corner, everyone and their mother is looking to get on the courts. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Wyatt Long.
Thanks, Wyatt. See, I've never played intramural basketball, but let me tell you, there's nothing more entertaining than watching those games.
Absolutely, and I played sports in high school, and so I love just being able to participate in intramurals and have fun with other kids, you know? And now Emmeline Perkins with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Raylan. The Evangel men's basketball team traveled to Indiana Tech to compete in the national tournament after receiving a bid last Thursday night. On day 1 of the tournament, the men's competed against Iowa Wesleyan and won with a score of 65-58. Yesterday was day 2 of the tournament, and they competed against Indiana Tech and lost with a score of 66-71. This will end the men's basketball season. Senior Levi Lockridge hit a cycle this past weekend in the first game against Hairston Hornets. When a player hits a cycle, it means they hit a single, a double, a triple, and a home run in that order. In the second game, Lockridge hit a grand slam. Lockridge ended the weekend with 7-10 at the plate with 12 RBIs. The baseball team's next game is Friday at University Fields for the conference opener against the Mount Mercy Mustangs at noon. The Kansas City Chiefs say goodbye to defensive end Frank Clark after being with the Chiefs for 4 seasons. Clark has racked up 13.5 sacks in his postseason career, with 10.5 of those being with the Chiefs. This puts him 3rd in the most postseason sacks in NFL history. Clark has also been into the Super Bowl 3 times, with winning 2 of them. The Baltimore Ravens and quarterback Lamar Jackson failed to come to an agreement on a contract extension. The Ravens decide to use a non-exclusive franchise tag, meaning Jackson can negotiate contracts with other teams, and the Ravens have the opportunity to match any offer the quarterback receives. Though the multiple reports have come out that teams need quarterbacks, they will not be pursuing Jackson. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Emmeline. Up next, a blind teacher finally achieves his biggest dream.
And Cameron joins us for our final forecast. Stay with us.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
You're not gonna get it all right.
just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
A blind man is fulfilling his dreams of teaching. 33-year-old Jensen Rabackle lost both of his eyes as an infant, but has still always had the dream of being a full-time English teacher. However, because he cannot see, he was never hired and only acted as a substitute teacher until the principal at Mamalani Elementary offered him a job as a music teacher. Rabackle performed at different places as a hobby, and although it isn't teaching English, he is happy to be able to still fulfill his dream of teaching. I just think it's so inspiring because you see, he loved English and wanted to teach it, but he's just so happy to be teaching and with kids. And it's so cool to see a person's passion and their heart behind it, and how even if it's not how they envisioned their life going, it's how they're gonna keep going because of their love for kids.
Right, and he didn't allow that to hold him
Exactly.
back. You know? It's inspiring.
It's so inspiring.
Absolutely. Cameron, how's the weather looking for the rest of the week?
Well, thanks, guys. Our most notable days to want to pay attention to are probably Saturday and Sunday, with that occasional rain showing up, and AM showers on Sunday morning, but that will turn to sunny, and we can expect the sun to stick around a little bit longer as we go through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with our warmest day being 63 degrees on Wednesday, and it not sadly getting any warmer from there. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. That's all for us today. I'm Summer Ottershot.
And I'm Raylan Lacados. This has been Newswatch Today. Please join us in 2 weeks for more about EU TV and the latest Evangel news. Go to euvalormedia.com.